Unveiling the fascinating world of George Orwell. George Orwell, originally named Eric Arthur Blair, was born into the tapestry of the British Raj in Motihari, India, on June 25, 1903. His birth in this distant land was not by chance but a direct consequence of his father's occupation. Richard Walmsley Blair, his father, played a pivotal role in the British Indian government's opium department. This position was crucial for overseeing the production and distribution of opium, a significant and controversial commodity of the time. Orwell's British roots, entwined with his Indian birthplace, presented a complex interplay of cultural and political influences that would later permeate his writings. Despite being born far from Britain, his family's ties to the empire and its mechanisms of control were undeniable. This duality of belonging and separation from the colonial power structure would shape his critical perspective on imperialism and authority. 1984, Orwell's foreboding masterpiece, introduced the world to terms like Big Brother and thought police, embedding these concepts into the fabric of modern discourse. These terms transcended the boundaries of literature to become symbols of totalitarian surveillance and repression. Orwell's ability to distill complex political ideas into accessible language made 1984 a pivotal reference point for discussions on freedom and privacy. Before carving his niche as a writer, Orwell's journey took him through the ranks of the imperial police in Burma. This phase of his life was pivotal, as it exposed him to the realities of imperialism from the enforcer's perspective. The experience left a profound mark on him, catalyzing his transformation into a vocal critic of oppressive regimes. Orwell's participation in the Spanish Civil War further deepened his political engagement. Aligning with the Republicans, he found himself in the throes of ideological battle, an experience that not only tested his convictions but also inspired homage to Catalonia. This book, a poignant account of his experiences and reflections, underscored the complexities and betrayals inherent in political struggles. Eric Arthur Blair, better known by his pen name George Orwell, chose to separate his literary career from his personal life. The adoption of this pseudonym allowed him to write freely, without the constraints or judgments that might have come with his real identity. This decision underscores the distinction he sought between his public and private spheres. Animal Farm and 1984 stand as Orwell's most celebrated works, each a scathing critique of totalitarian regimes. Through allegory and dystopian future, Orwell explored themes of power, manipulation, and the loss of individual freedoms. These novels have left an indelible mark on literature and political thought, reflecting his deep concerns about authoritarianism. Orwell's first-hand experiences of poverty in Paris and London were vividly captured in his first full-length work, Down and Out in Paris and London. This narrative sheds light on the harsh realities of destitution and the social injustices that pervade society. It's a poignant exploration of the depths of human struggle and resilience. A critic of both capitalism and communism, Orwell advocated for democratic socialism as a viable alternative. His writings and political essays reveal a thinker deeply concerned with social justice, equity, and the dangers of unchecked power. His beliefs were rooted in his personal experiences and observations of social disparities. In his later years, suffering from tuberculosis, Orwell sought solitude on the Scottish island of Jura to write 1984. This period was marked by intense productivity, despite his declining health. The isolation provided him the space to craft one of the most influential novels of the 20th century, a testament to his enduring spirit and commitment to his craft. George Orwell was not just a novelist but also an astute essayist. His essays covered a wide range of topics, from literary criticism to the intricate details of contemporary politics. Through his essays, Orwell demonstrated an exceptional ability to dissect complex ideas, presenting them in a manner that was both accessible and profound. One of his most famous essays, Shooting an Elephant, delves into the moral quandaries of imperialism. Set in Burma, where Orwell served as a police officer, the narrative explores the conflicting emotions of duty and personal morality. It's a piercing examination of the oppressor's burden, highlighting the psychological toll of enforcing imperial rule. In Politics and the English Language, Orwell turned his critical eye towards the use of language in politics. He argued that vague and pretentious language was not only a symptom of unclear thinking but also a tool used to obscure truths. Orwell championed for clarity and simplicity in writing, believing it was integral to honest discourse. Despite his significant impact on literary and political thought, Orwell's life was marked by financial instability. His struggle with poverty was not just a phase, but a constant battle that influenced much of his work. This personal battle against financial scarcity added a layer of authenticity to his critiques of societal systems. Orwell's private life saw moments of joy and immense sorrow. His adoption of a son, Richard Horatio Blair, with his wife Eileen O'Shaughnessy, brought him happiness. However, Eileen's untimely death in 1945 during a routine operation left Orwell heartbroken, a personal tragedy that shadowed his remaining years. The sudden death of Eileen O'Shaughnessy in 1945 during a routine operation left George Orwell reeling with grief. Losing his wife at a crucial juncture of his life plunged Orwell into a profound sadness, significantly impacting both his personal life and his writing. This tragedy marked a turning point, deepening the themes of loss and despair in his work. Orwell's decision to compile a list of suspected communists for the British government's Information Research Department has stirred controversy over the years. Critics argued that this action contradicted his advocacy for freedom and individual rights, casting a shadow over his legacy. This aspect of his life remains a contentious topic among scholars and fans alike. Remarkably, George Orwell's voice, which influenced millions through his written words, is known from only a single recording. A BBC radio broadcast from 1943 captures his spoken voice, offering a rare auditory glimpse into the personality of the man behind iconic texts. This recording is treasured as a vital piece of literary history. Orwell's stint with the BBC during World War II profoundly shaped his views on media and propaganda. His experiences fueled his skepticism toward the manipulation of information and censorship, themes that prominently feature in his later works. These insights into media's power in shaping public opinion were ahead of their time, highlighting Orwell's prescience. The title, 1984, could have been The Last Man in Europe had Orwell not opted for the now iconic numerical title. This decision underscores the universal and timeless appeal Orwell sought for his dystopian vision. The title, 1984, evokes an immediate recognition of Orwell's cautionary tale about totalitarianism, making it a staple in literary discussions worldwide. George Orwell, a visionary with a critical eye on societal flaws, faced accusations of plagiarism for his seminal work, 1984. Critics pointed out parallels between Orwell's dystopia and Yevgeny Zamyatin's Orwell, suggesting Orwell may have drawn more than inspiration from the earlier novel. This controversy, however, does little to diminish the profound impact of 1984 on literature and political thought. Despite his critique of Soviet authoritarianism, Orwell's complex relationship with the USSR took a personal turn in 1936. He sought a visa to enter the Soviet Union, an attempt that was ultimately rebuffed. This denial did not deter his critical stance, but underscored the complexities of his political viewpoints. Orwell's choice of George Orwell as a pen name was deeply personal and reflected his intrinsic connection to the English landscape. The River Orwell in Suffolk, a place he held dear, lent its name to his pseudonym, symbolizing a blend of his love for the English countryside and his literary identity. Animal Farm, another of Orwell's masterpieces, initially struggled to find a publisher. Its overt criticism of the USSR, particularly sensitive during the alliance in World War II, made publishers wary. Despite these challenges, the book eventually saw the light of day, becoming a critical allegory on the dangers of totalitarianism. Orwell's education at Eton College, a hallmark of British elite education, was made possible through a scholarship. His family's financial situation couldn't cover the fees, highlighting the early socioeconomic challenges he faced. This background influenced his writings, which often critiqued societal structures and inequalities. George Orwell's service in Burma was cut short in 1927 after he contracted dengue fever. This illness marked a pivotal moment in his life, steering him away from a career in the Imperial Police and towards his true calling as a writer. The fever not only ended his service but also ignited a deep reflection on his experiences with imperialism, which would later profoundly influence his literary works. Despite his growing disdain for imperialism, Orwell retained a complex sense of pride in his family's history of colonial service. This duality is evident in his writings, where he critically examines imperialistic endeavors yet acknowledges the intricate ties that bound him to the very system he criticized. This nuanced perspective added depth to his critiques of power structures. Orwell's lighter side emerged in his writings on everyday topics, such as his essay, A Nice Cup of Tea. Here, he showcased his ability to engage with the mundane aspects of British life with humor and wit. This essay, among others, revealed a different facet of Orwell, one that found joy and levity in the simplicity of a well-brewed cup of tea. 1984, Orwell's magnum opus, achieved global recognition, being translated into more than 65 languages. This sprawling reach attests to the novel's universal themes of freedom, surveillance, and the human spirit under totalitarian rule. Its translation into a myriad of languages made Orwell's cautionary tale accessible to a worldwide audience, amplifying its impact. Orwell's life came to a premature end in 1950, when he succumbed to tuberculosis in London at the age of 46. Despite his relatively short life, the legacy of his final work, 1984, published less than a year before his death, continues to resonate. The novel's prescient themes of authoritarianism and individuality remain profoundly relevant, securing Orwell's place in the literary canon. George Orwell's final book, 1984, was published in 1949, marking a profound moment in literary history. Less than a year before his death, this dystopian masterpiece offered a chilling exploration of totalitarianism, surveillance, and the erosion of personal freedom. Its publication showcased Orwell's uncanny ability to dissect and critique the political mechanisms of control and manipulation, leaving a lasting impact on literature and political thought. Orwell died on January 21, 1950, in London, succumbing to tuberculosis at the age of 46. His passing marked the loss of one of the most influential voices in 20th-century literature. Despite his relatively short life, Orwell's work continues to resonate, offering insightful commentary on the nature of power, freedom, and human dignity. His legacy is a testament to the enduring relevance of his ideas. He was buried in Sutton Courtenay, Oxfordshire, adhering to the rites of the Church of England, despite his known atheism. This decision underscores the complexities of Orwell's character, a man whose life and work were full of paradoxes. His epitaph, bearing his birth name Eric Arthur Blair, offers a simple farewell to a man whose pen name, George Orwell, became synonymous with the critique of oppressive regimes. Orwell's archives were acquired by University College London in 2015, ensuring the preservation of his extensive works, including manuscripts, letters, and personal items. This acquisition allows scholars and the public alike to delve deeper into the life and legacy of a writer who masterfully explored the themes of power, truth, and the human condition. His archives serve as a valuable resource for those seeking to understand the historical and literary significance of his work. The term Orwellian has transcended its literary origins to become a critical descriptor of governmental policies that encroach upon personal freedoms and privacy. Today, Orwell's influence extends into the 21st century, with his insights into surveillance, censorship, and propaganda proving increasingly relevant in the digital age. His work not only endures but thrives, as new generations grapple with the challenges of maintaining liberty in an ever-connected world. The Orwell Prize stands as a testament to George Orwell's enduring legacy, recognizing exceptional political writing that embodies the clarity, integrity, and foresight that Orwell championed throughout his career. This prestigious award encourages writers, journalists, and thinkers to delve deep into political subjects, fostering a culture of critical analysis and transparency in the spirit of Orwell's own work. Orwell's astute observations and critiques of political systems have solidified his place in the annals of literary history, earning him a spot on a British postage stamp. This commemoration serves not only as a recognition of his contributions to literature and political thought, but also as a reminder of the power of the written word in shaping society and challenging the status quo. The George Orwell Memorial Trust further extends Orwell's influence by supporting future generations of thinkers and writers. By funding scholarships for students from his alma mater to pursue higher education, the Trust ensures the continuity of Orwell's intellectual legacy, encouraging young minds to explore and question the world around them. Orwell's dire warnings about surveillance and the erosion of freedom, meticulously outlined in 1984, have only grown more poignant in the digital era. His foresight narratives about the dangers of unchecked governmental power and the decline of individual privacy resonate deeply in today's world, where technology often outpaces ethical considerations. Through his writings, Orwell has become synonymous with the critique of oppressive regimes and the vigilant defense of personal liberty. The term Orwellian has transcended literary circles, entering common language as a descriptor for actions and policies that eerily echo the dystopian realities Orwell so vividly depicted. His work continues to inspire and caution, serving as a crucial reference point in discussions about freedom, privacy, and governance in the modern age.